Hey, I'm back. It's actually been a little bit longer than 30 minutes, so I can take the pressure off of both pots. It's okay to leave them in longer. I wouldn't advise leaving them in overnight because they're kind of hard to remove when they stay in too long. But you don't want to leave them in short. There's a little safety ring on the side here for the safety valve, and I release the air pressure by pulling on that ring. These are really nothing more than those commercial paint pots. I'm sure you've seen them on job sites before. You can get them cheap at Sears is where I got these. They're like 99 bucks a piece. And what I did is I took the siphon out and replaced it with this setup here. And that allows me to control the, to see how much pressure's in it and to stop the outflow from, anyway, it makes it easier. You'll see once you see it. It's easier to understand when you see it than it is to explain how it works. Oops, I accidentally left your cup in here and it's stuck. There you go. Yeah. Pulled all the insides out so you got a nice clean cup. You won't have a dirty cup when I send it to you. If I send it to you, because I'm still not sure you really want to do this. Now for the fun part. And even though I've done these like hundreds and hundreds of these things, I never go tired of seeing them come out of the molds. Of course it gets a little bit tiring when you have to do like casting for a week straight and have all three pots filled up. So we're going to take the first guy out so you'll be able to see him on the camera. The other ones are kind of small, so probably won't be that interested. You'll notice I put on my overcoat, or whatever you call it, coverall, lab coat. And that's because, I don't know if you can see it, see those little pieces of plastic? They come off when there's flashing on the piece, and it comes off and it's electrically charged, so if you're wearing like a wool sweater or even anything that's got nylon in it, it'll be, all the little particles will be attracted to it, and they're a bitch to get off. And you drag them around the house, it's not good. So anyway, you take it out by spreading the mold like this. See? Of course this is a big mold, so you got to use both hands. With the little mold you don't. And you kind of ease it out because you don't want to tear any of the pieces inside up. And there, you kind of twist it, especially, there we go, that's a good casting. Actually very little bit of flashing. Notice the elbows don't have any air bubbles in them. Very little flashing, meaning that when I put the mold back together, I put it together evenly. And this is a thing to look out for because sometimes when you put the molds back together, they're offset just a little bit and you get these seams. That's why I always try to put the seams in a natural area where a clothing line seam would be, and it doesn't look so awkward. It's actually turned out to be a pretty good piece. And this is why it's just kind of, for me it's always fun just to see something that I did. This was not a 3D piece, this is one of my clay pieces, and you just see it. And the cool thing is, like with 3D I can have them printed out over and over again, but the clay pieces sometimes when you take them out of the mold, making the mold, they're just pretty much destroyed. You know, there are fracture lines and everything. And so this one went the way of being destroyed. It's sitting up on a shelf, broken up a little bit. Tried to put it back together, but it won't hold. So it's nice to see perfect pieces coming off, perfect representations of something that you've worked on for a long time. And I don't know, it's just kind of cool. You can make copies for me. I don't enjoy the pouring part of it. tell you that. Mainly, I don't. It's not that I don't enjoy it. It's that I really don't have time anymore. That's why I'm hoping this doesn't look like, oh my God, watching my brother do this. This is a major pain in the ass. It is kind of a major pain in the ass. There are things you have to remember to do. You have to have a sequence going. You have to stick to it. You have to have a system in place, I should say. And you got to stick to it. And right now the rewards aren't that great, but that's because I'm kind of a small-time operation. If you were to bring in any cells, I'd really have a hard time meeting them. That's one reason I was kind of hesitant. I was kind of glad in a way that that kit got sent back for two reasons. One reason is I needed the figures because I didn't really feel it was colder. It's been colder than hell here. I mean, it's unbelievably cold this year. So anyway, you want to put these back together so that the seam is flush where it's separated. You can check it. You can't really see. It's going to be off a little bit. Get it as close as you can. And it'll make it really nice on your next pour. So anyway, that's it in a nutshell. There we go. That's you're not going to know exactly how to pour after watching me. You're going to know some of the things you have to do, the sequence pretty much, the system. But it really, like I said, each mold is different, so you just have to pour them and figure them out. And I don't know, the materials might behave differently for you than they do for me. To tell you the truth, I had a hard time figuring this stuff out. It took me nearly 2 or 3 months to figure out how to make a good mold and pour it right. But that was at the beginning, and you know, I think the only mold making experience I had was jewelry lost wax casting. So it's a lot different. It's a lot different system. Anyway, after you watch this video, watch it a couple times, and you know, I don't want to push you into anything. If you're still interested, call me up. Let's get your contact information straight, and I'm going to ship you out the container or the compression tank, a sample kit of resin, and the molds, and some of the smaller measuring cups. And believe it or not, the smaller measuring cups I'm sending you, let me see if I can find them here, easily accessible right here. These puppies here, I used these for 2 years before I switched to the bigger cups, because it took me about 2 years before I could pour multiple molds. And plus, you know, the first year I was using only one tank, so it didn't really matter. So I'm going to send you a couple of these, and I'll label some of them A and some of them B. You clean them out after each casting. That's important. Clean them out with a paper napkin and follow it with a cloth piece of rag, cloth rag. And clean it out really good. Otherwise, it gets deposits around it and your measurements are off and little particles get in the next casting. Clean them out really good after your castings. Everything needs to be clean when you're casting. Try not to smoke when you're casting. I don't know if the stuff is flammable or not, but little ash gets inside of it and kind of ruins the casting. People like to see the pure white casting as if, you know, nobody's ever touched it. It looks sterile and institutionalized. So don't get ash into it or anything like that. I'm going to go over safety one more time. The materials are hazardous to your health. They don't say they are, but I'm pretty sure they are because it's polyurethane based, and that stuff causes respiratory problems. So get a respirator or work in a really well ventilated area. Like right now I've got my ventilation fan going, and I don't really need the respirator. And get some clothing that will cover your other clothing so that it doesn't get damaged. Even though you're working in old clothes, they get damaged so much you can't even wash the stuff out. Get yourself a pair of Crocs or some old shoes that you don't mind getting a bunch of polyurethane resin on. And actually, I can clean these up every once in a while because they are rubber based. They act sort of like mold material, actually. Oh, well, I guess you can just kind of peel it off here and there. So get yourself a pair of shoes you don't mind getting all messed up. Get yourself some plastic bags to put around the walls and something to put on the floor. Old piece of cardboard is what I used to work on, and when I lived in Aptos, I put a big giant, broke a big box down and laid it out underneath where I was working. You want to work at a level that's comfortable to you too. So you'll need some kind of makeshift bench. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. This countertop actually looks pretty fancy, but it's a scrap from when Diana's cousin did her kitchen. She had a bunch of granite left over and gave it to me. So I just reused it. I haven't even cut it. Just kind of made this cabinet out of an old door I found and cut that up and made the cabinet. So it just doesn't need to be fancy, it just needs to be functional. Back to safety too, the gloves. I'll send you a bunch of gloves, but you'll eventually have to buy your own if you keep at this. I'll also send you some contact information for bigger cups. I'll send you a mixing cup, the one I just made for you. I'll send this. Again, this is all if you're still interested in doing this. And of course I'll be sending you the 5 molds and maybe even a few more, because I just added 5 new figures to my line, and like you saw, it's just like I'm running out of space. Need to make some space in here. So have at it. If you go for this, have at it. Have some fun. I don't know how much money you're going to be able to make. You're a much better salesperson than I am. Let's put it this way. I made enough money to pay for all this equipment and pay for the materials and stuff. So I've never actually gone in the hole on any of this stuff. I've even paid for the printings with the cells. So again, with like your ruined pieces, don't toss them. Oh, one thing I forgot to cover. When at the end you have these little pore areas. Now some of the molds you've got have big giant, they're called sprues, by the way, big giant sprues on it. And what I do is I have a bandsaw, but a little handsaw will do too. I use that once in a while when I don't feel like going out and starting at the bandsaw because the shop is cold. You take and you cut these flat. Don't cut them completely off. Don't try to make the feet completely level. Just cut them off. Put them in a container, because I use them as fill on bigger castings. Sometimes it's just, you know, because you got the air pocket in there. And then just make them look clean, but leave the sprue on, because the customer cleans that up themselves. So I have this little container that I keep all the sprues in, and then when I do a pour on a big mold, I put the sprues in that. That saves me some resin too. Also, if I want to do a big stone, I just dump all the sprues in and pour, you know, resin in that. So that's it. Do Also, this is a pretty clean piece. I'm surprised it turned out so. But occasionally you get like around these occlusions, they'll be flashing. Don't spend a lot of time on it. Just scrape it away real quick with the back of a razor, just so that it's not there in the package. Remember, shipping costs too, so part of cutting the sprue off is getting rid of some of the weight of the shipping. So you'll want that weight to, you want it to weigh as little as possible. So I'm babbling now because I just had some coffee, but I'm going to go ahead and edit this. Maybe I'll edit the babbling out, maybe I won't. Talk to you later. Love you, bro.